How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. After an impressive Week 3 comeback, has Nick Foles asserted himself as the quarterback one in Chicago? Today, we're going to be discussing who is going to be the starting quarterback for the Bears, not only in Week 4, but also throughout the rest of the season. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I would like to say, if you are new to the channel and want Bears content every day of the week, we've been pumping out a ton of content recently, getting very close to 3,000 subscribers. So if you want content every day of the week, do us a favor and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications whenever we post as well. We're posting stuff every day. Also, do us a favor. Let's set a like goal on this video for, I'm feeling ambitious. Let's go 60 likes. Let's try and hit 60 likes on this video. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today to talk about a really good comeback by Nick Foles, as well as the future of the quarterback position in Chicago. I'm joined with both of my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, guys?
Doing pretty good. Just watching the Green Bay and New Orleans game right now. It's going to be a classic end to the game. I think it's going to be a really
that game's definitely been a shootout, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a Saints victory here.
Jaylen, how's it going, buddy?
It's been a long Sunday for me.
I got to agree with you. Obviously I wasn't here to record the post-game show. I was in Indianapolis over at Lucas Oil Stadium watching the Colts. Funny enough, I got invited to go to the Colts-Jets game, so I'll definitely have some good insight on that game coming up with the Bears later this week. But obviously today we're here to talk about the quarterback position that got flustered today. I didn't watch a ton of the Bears game, but I've watched the All-22 since getting back home, and we have a lot to talk about. So, obviously, Mitchell Trubisky, the starting quarterback in the first half for the Bears. He rushes for 45 yards on a pretty incredible run. I must give him props there. But in regards to passing, he wasn't that great. 13 for 22, 128 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Also sacked twice for 9 yards. At least one of those sacks was on him. I remember his first sack was a pretty bad one. With a rating of 71.8, Nick Foles comes in the second half, and oh my goodness gracious, what a comeback by the Bears. We're looking for consistency here, but that was quite the comeback. 16 for 29, 188 yards, 6.5 yards per pass, 3 touchdowns, probably could have been even 4 or 5. He had a couple dropped ones from my understanding. I haven't watched the entire clips back yet, but it seems like he had a couple drop touchdowns. Anthony Miller had one on fourth down that looked like a catch but was overturned. But Foles also threw an interception and ended up with a rating of 95.2. So the Bears recently came out, Matt Nagy, obviously, in the post presser. There was a ton of questions about what the future of the quarterback position was going to be because Foles looked so clean coming off the bench, something that he's done so well throughout his career. And Nagy said, similar to a couple of weeks ago, he was going to sit down with his coaching staff, with his colleagues tonight and decide who the starting quarterback will be for Week 4 against the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, I was at the Colts game today. The Colts defense is a defense that you can't really mess around with. They're a very good crew. I think they forced 5 turnovers today, albeit it was against the Jets, but definitely a tough defense, and the quarterback is going to have to step up big time in this one. So, Parth, I want to go to you. You had quite the day. You retired the name Trubisky Nation. You went to Foles Nation for a little bit to troll Jaylen. You know what? And you ended up with the Bears IG. You retired the Trubisky name, so even if he does get any more action, it seems like you, as someone who's been so well known for having that name for quite some time, is not going to go back to that. So before we talk about the rest of the season, let's just zone in on this Week 4 game. I think it's pretty obvious in my mind who's going to get the start, but who do you see suiting up here against the Colts?
Nick Foles, easily. There's no way Mitch Trubisky gets another start unless if it's because of an injury. There's no way that Trubisky could come in. I mean, he looked terrible at the end of the game. He threw that interception. And after that, I got a text from my dad, and he's like, "Let's put Foles in," and I was like, "There's no way they do that." And then I see Nick Foles come into the game,
and then he came in. Yep,
he came in, and then he just led the comeback, which I didn't think that would happen at all. I mean, it looked doubtful at one point. At one point, I was like, "Just throw the game." There's no way we're coming back. And
I think you texted Trevor Lawrence or something in the middle of the game, and I was like, "Oh God, Park's being negative again."
Yeah, I was pissed off to say the least. And then he did it, and then it was
Another comeback win. The Bears are the first team in NFL history in a season to come back from two games where they were down 16 in the fourth quarter. What the game for Nick Foles. And I got to be honest with you, reading stuff after the game, processing information that I missed out on, it seems like Nagy has given up on Mitchell Trubisky. We've been discussing it all offseason. Even Jaylen can agree. We all agreed all offseason that Nagy was the one that gave up on Trubisky. And it ended up being that Bill Lazor was the one that told Trubisky that he was going to get benched in this game. Coming out of half, it was kind of a surprise for Mitch. Mitch talked about how much it sucked, and I can't hate on Mitch. You know what? He's a good kid. He works hard. It's tough. I've been emotional about Mitch for some time now, but Parth, I got to agree with you. I think it's going to be Foles in week 4. We see how he came in and how great of a pocket passer he was, how great he was at reading defenses, how good he was at throwing under pressure. He was quite the performer in this game. And it looks like Matt Nagy, I said this to Jaylen before we started recording, it looks like Matt Nagy was running on like rookie Madden mode and everything was going right. And that's pretty promising to me. Trubisky seems like he can get anxious at times, and that still is a thing, and it has been a thing since he came into this league. He's had a ton of pressure on him because of his draft status. But you know what? Foles came in. He was composed. He was collected. He read defenses. He did basically everything he needed to do to win the Bears this game. Luckily, the defense stood up to Sean Gibson, sealed it with an interception. But I really liked how Foles came out and did everything he needed to do. He's not going to be the quarterback of the future in Chicago. I think we all know that. The Bears are going to have to look to get another quarterback sometime in the future. But you know what? Nick Foles did what he needed to do, and I think this is his job, at least for week 4. Obviously, we'll see what happens in the future, barring injury and such. But this Colts defense is not something you can mess around with. They were pretty spot on today when I was there in Indianapolis. So, Jaylen, I want to pass it to you. We've currently got 2 for 3. You've been someone who's been a Trubisky homer for quite some time. So who do you think ends up getting the start here in week 4?
I have a gun on my head. Christopher told me to pick Nick Foles.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, I hate to say this. Trust me, I do. It hurts me to say this, but I have to go with Nick Foles. At least for right now. I'm not gonna say he's not gonna be the starter for the rest of the season. I feel like he's gonna get the same treatment that Mitchell Trubisky did. He's gonna be,
and
on
that's
a short
appropriate.
leash.
I can agree with you there. Yeah,
he's on a short leash. If you don't play well, you're not gonna be in the game. And I think that like Christopher said, that's very appropriate in this type of situation. We're 3-0. It's good to be 3-0. We still got a lot of work on. Still have a lot to work on, especially with the quarterback situation. We don't know if we can rely on Mitchell or Nick. I'm happy Nick brought us back. It was sad to see Mitchell on the sideline with the offense, on the field with another quarterback. But I'm a Bears fan first.
No kidding.
I've been a Bears fan way longer than I've been a Mitchell Trubisky fan, and all I want to see is this team is win. But like I said, it definitely hurts to say this, but I have to go with Nick Foles. The offense did look more, fluent with Nick Foles in the game. He made a couple big time passes in that fourth quarter. Of course, the game winner, but one of those that caught me off guard was the one that Jimmy Graham, where 3 Atlanta Falcons defenders just jumped up and they all missed and still made his way there. So yeah, I gotta go with Nicholas Foles right here, man.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a tough one for you, Jaylen. We know how supportive you've been of Trubisky for quite some time. And look, Nick Foles isn't perfect. I think he's a competent quarterback. He knows where and when to throw it. It seems like now Nagy can do what he wants to do. We saw him running the offense so smoothly when Foles went in. And it was only the first time he had called plays for Foles in his entire career. They had crossed paths in Kansas City, but obviously Andy Reid was the play caller then. So you know what? It's promising to me. I think Foles can only go upwards from here. Yet again, I've said the same thing about Mitch in the past, and he's let me down. So I'm not quite sure that Foles is going to continue to exceed our expectations, but he was able to do it today, and I do agree that I think it's going to be his team moving forward. Parth, one more question before we close this one off. Obviously, Foles has been someone who's gotten injured in the past. Obviously, he broke his collarbone last year in Jacksonville. He is an older guy. Also not as mobile as Mitch, and Mitch is also someone we've seen get injured throughout time. But you know what? We could see Foles get injured. We could see inconsistent play from the quarterbacks moving forward. But Do you think Foles keeps this job for the rest of the season? It seems like he's going to be the starter week 4. I think it's pretty obvious to anyone. I'd be surprised if Ryan Pace had enough of a say after quite the comeback like that, where Trubisky would be the starter. But if Nick Foles does get named the starter here to kick off the second quarter of the season, do you think he keeps it all the way throughout the season, or do you think we see Mitchell Trubisky in the future?
I think he keeps it unless if he gets injured. There's no way Trubisky gets into the game unless we see Nick Foles getting hurt. I mean, after what we saw today, we know that Matt Nagy is more comfortable with Nick Foles. I mean, we as soon as we got Bill Lazor as our offensive coordinator and John DeFilippo as our quarterbacks coach, they were just looking for 1 point during the season because Mitch was just handed this job. Let's be honest. There was no real competition. The only reason they called it a competition was to make it seem like they're being fair.
Pace wanted to give Mitch another shot. I kind of felt that way throughout the entire
Exactly. So they gave Mitch the other shot. He didn't do it. Well, Matt Nagy thought he couldn't do it, so he brought in his guy. Basically, they had a my guy versus his guy type of competition, and Matt Nagy got his guy, and I think he's going to be sticking with him till he gets hurt or something just terrible happens. I'd say.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. I know we're going to get a different answer from Jaylen on this one, but I talked about it earlier. I think there's a lot of promise with Nick Foles in this offense. Obviously, he's still, benefiting from his relationship with Matt Nagy. I mentioned it earlier. Today was the first time Nagy's ever called plays for Foles, and we saw that familiarity with that Andy Reid West Coast offense, and we saw it flourish. We watched Foles' postgame show. Obviously, he got hit very hard on that last throw to Anthony Miller, and you can already see the chemistry starting to form because Foles said, hey, I knew I was going to get bull rushed on that play. It was a 3rd and 8, and I told Anthony just to get to the L in Atlanta in the end zone, and I was just going to throw it there. So you know what? We saw Allen Robinson flourish. We saw the run game continue to flourish. The Bears had 130 total rushing yards in this game. I believe only 95 came from the running backs because of that big run pulled off by Trubisky. But you know what? I think this offense is going to continue to benefit with Nick Foles. He is someone who's going to get injured. I'm definitely not ruling that out. I'm not ruling out Trubisky playing again. But as long as he can stay healthy and continues to have this great relationship with Matt Nagy, and obviously he's so familiar with the rest of the offensive coaching staff, I would assume he's not only named starter for week 4, but I think he can hold on to it for the rest of the year. And we'll end up seeing where Mitch goes next year. But you know what? I can't rule out a guy like Foles getting injured and Mitch coming back in. And we've seen Mitch have some vengeance tours in the past. I think a lot of us thought that 2020 was going to be another revenge tour type thing for Trubisky, but we saw him get pulled today. But I can't rule out him playing later in the season. But if Foles stays healthy, I think it only continues to go uphill. I think hopefully the Bears will be able to land a deal with Allen Robinson soon. I'm praying for Tariq Cohen. It was tough to see him go down, but I think the offense is better with Foles, and I think as we continue to move forward, I think it only continues to flourish with Foles, and it definitely helps the defense getting them off the field because we saw the defense on the field a lot more in the first half of that game. Jaylen, I'm passing it back to you. I already virtually know your answer, but do you think that Nick Foles keeps this job all the way throughout the rest of the season as the Bears look to start making a playoff push now at 3-0?
I can't say yes here. Because even if he doesn't get hurt, not Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles has never played a full. He obviously won't play full 16 games here, but he hasn't played a full season yet.
That's a good point. I think the most games he's played in his career as a starter is 13 in Philadelphia, and that was like 2013.
So if he starts, for the rest of the season, that would be 13 games, and I just don't see him starting 13 games, in a row. Even if it's not an injury, we play a lot of good opponents, a lot of good defenses, and if he's not playing well, then I see him get pulled just like Mitchell did today. Obviously, I'm a Bears fan, and I hope for the best for the quarterbacks. I'm not gonna go out there and hope, Nick Foles throw 5 interceptions in the first half, please. Just so Mitchell Trubisky can come in the game. No, I want my quarterback to go out there and do anything in his power to help my team win. So. But realistically, I just don't see it.
So do you see Foles getting pulled? Before we close this one off, do you see Foles getting pulled because of play or because of an injury?
Both. You never know with Nick Foles if it's I say both. But I just want to say it's like
I'm not trying to alienate you, by the way. stuff can get a little heated, especially with you in the quarterback position. But
I don't care. I'm pretty sure we already knew this, but Matt Nagy showed he's a great offensive-minded head coach. He caught some amazing plays in this fourth quarter that led us to win. A lot of people get on him because of his play calling, and it hurts for me to say that. I think the play calling, the way he called plays last season, and sometime this season was, just based off the quarterback, just based off the fact that he didn't believe in his quarterback or Mitchell Trubisky, and now he has Nick Foles, who's been in the system, who he trusts, with the majority of his playbook, and he executed it. So if we can do it next week against the Colts and then the Buccaneers and then the Panthers and so on and so forth, there's no reason this team should be stopped. This is definitely a playoff team if that can happen.
Yeah, the Bears will look to make a playoff push now at 3-0. I mentioned it earlier, but one of two teams in the NFC with an undefeated record, and definitely another opportunity for Nick Foles and the entire offense to go prove that they are valuable again in Week 4 back at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 88 of Uncut. We're getting so close to 100 on these guys. You guys have loved the series, so if you made it this far and haven't already, do us a favor, drop a like and subscribe if you are new. If you want more content from us, do us a favor, head over to our website, beareddown.com. We're posting a ton of articles basically every day now on there, getting you guys a ton of extra content. So if you want more written content from us, there's a ton of people here at Beared Down that work so hard, tirelessly behind the scenes that deserve credit. So if you have some time, be sure to go check out our website. If you would like to find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter, you can head over to Beared Down on both of those platforms. And finally, you can find the links to all of our social media fan pages on Instagram down in the description. I'm going to have to change Parth's username, but you can find the links to all of those down in the description. Parth, Jaylen McClellan, it seemed like a very long day, and I think coming into this season, we knew that this quarterback competition wasn't going to end when the starter was named before Week 1, but we're 3-0. I don't think anyone can complain about that. People on social media can say all they want that the Bears are the worst 3-0 team, but you know what? We had an easier schedule to start off with. The Bears needed to capitalize on this. I think this is the start we all envisioned. I don't think we essentially believed that it was going to happen, but now that it's happened, we've got to run with it and continue to perform. Any last words, guys?
This Mitch versus Foles, what's it called, debate by fans is still going on. I'm just reading Twitter threads between Foles fans and Mitch fans still insist putting Mitch in after this. I'm kind of confused.
And it's tough when Jaylen not gives up, but admits that Foles should start. So.
I ain't finna give up. No, Mitchell Trubisky is still my quarterback. Man, hey, don't put no words in my mouth, Chris.
No way.
All right, Jaylen.
I didn't want to be, I don't want to be politically wrong, so I'm gonna just be politically right.
Okay, well, we'll see if Foles can continue it this week against the Colts. I'll tell you one thing. I think we could all agree that a 4-0 start would be quite the start here heading into a tough matchup with Tampa Bay in Week 5. That'll pretty much do it for us, guys. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby. It's been such a long day, so much football. I think I'm footballed out, but I've got to go watch Sunday Night Football, a very big game going on right now between the Saints and the Packers, so I'm going to get to that now. Bears fans, as always, stay safe and bear down. Do not complain about a 3-0 start. I know this debate's going to continue to rain on, but at the end of the day, Jaylen said it. We're all Chicago Bears fans. We got to support our guy no matter what. So that'll pretty much do it for us, guys. As always, I'm going to say it again. Stay safe and bear down. We're 3-0.
And who that too? Who that? Because they play the Packers and we're.
And Jaylen, I'll say it when we close this one off. I think Foles is about to chase that bread. So.
No, you can't use that. That's not fair. No. Stop it. Stop it.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.